Welcome to the Sisters Uncensored podcast, where we get into everything from childhood trauma to millennial adulting and all things in between.
We share crazy stories from the past and present to help us cope with the insanity that is our lives.
By sharing our perspectives, we hope to bring some relatability, laughter, and unsolicited advice that can help you survive the messiness of life along with us.
My name's Jessica Labita. I'm a millennial mom, wife, and marketing professional, and I am absolutely insane.
My name is Ashley Lanive. I am a millennial stay-at-home mom, avid golfer, and too mouthy for my own good.
We are real sisters, and this is Sisters Uncensored. Take this trip with us.
All right, guys, welcome back. So this episode is basically going to be a bunch of stories from growing up that we like to call the Fucked Up Family Olympics. At the time, these things seemed insane, but now we get to look back and laugh at them, and we want to share a few with you. Let us know what you think. But yeah.
Definitely. I mean, we have to take these stories and learn and grow from them, and it's fun to sort of reminisce with your family sometimes. So we're going to share with you a couple of our favorites. And then we want to hear from you what you've got as far as your favorite stories. Maybe you'll make us feel better. Maybe you can compete in the Fucked Up Family Olympics. Or maybe we're just going to be the gold medal winners forever.
Oh, God.
So the first story I want to tell is about a time when we were kids and taking the school bus to school. And we lived on a corner street in our neighborhood. So our house was like the big house on the corner, and then behind us was a lake community where there were tons of other kids, and the school bus would pick us up right on the corner by our house, right on the corner of the main road and the side street that we lived on. And so it was tradition that the kids from the neighborhood would all come up to the bus stop, and you would place your book bag down in a line to make sure that when you were playing at the bus stop and waiting for the bus to come, that the order your book bag was down on the ground was the order that you got on the bus.
This was a serious thing, too. Like, if you were first in line, that was kind of a big deal.
It was. You got on the bus first. You got the best seat.
Yep, exactly. That was a big deal. And we probably had a good 15 kids at our bus stop.
So because our house was so close, we typically, one of us got there first. And we're always first in line. One of us and our siblings, would have been the first one. And I remember one time we had this family in our neighborhood where the mom loved to call the police on everyone for the dumbest things, and they were kind of neighborhood troublemakers. I don't think the kids were bad.
The kids weren't bad.
They were great kids.
The mother was off her
The
rails.
mom was just crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway,
she was known at the police station.
Yeah, she would just come, you walked by her house and she would call the cops.
Yeah, exactly.
She was just a troublemaker and started all sorts of issues for no reason. So we go to get in line, and Lindsay, our middle sister, had put her book bag down, I think first. I think she was first in line.
I just want to add something just to set this tone here. This is elementary school. So this is first grade to sixth grade.
Yeah, we were young.
Right? And I don't think we really had many sixth graders.
No.
It was really
yeah,
first
we were
to
definitely young.
Fourth, you know? But it was young kids.
Yes.
That's the point. Very young children.
Very, very young.
We'd play tag.
So we would play at the bus stop. So Lindsay goes out, she puts her book bag down, and she walks away, and we're all playing tag or doing what we were doing for the day while we're waiting for the bus to come. And these two boys come up the street, and the one boy kicked Lindsay's book bag out of the line and put his book bag down.
He didn't kick it.
He didn't kick it?
No, he just cut her.
He just cut her.
He cut her in line.
Okay, so he just put his book bag in front of her book bag.
Which people need to understand, this is prison rules, okay?
Every day, this was the rule.
You don't cut the line.
You don't cut the line.
Okay?
You put your book bag in your spot where you get there. If your mom made you late, that's her fault, not ours.
Yep.
Don't be mad that we live on the corner and got here before you.
Right. Everybody has a rough morning sometimes. Sometimes we weren't in the front of the line.
Right. It happens.
Yeah.
All right. So Lindsay puts her book bag down. He puts her book bag down in front of Lindsay's book bag and basically cuts the line.
To be next to his brother.
Yes. Now, mind you, my father was watching outside of the window because they always kept an eye on us when we went out to the bus stop. So he's watching and he sees this whole thing happen. Well, I think days prior, there had been some issues with these kids and Lindsay where they were like picking on her or teasing her or something.
Lindsay was quiet. She would never like stick up for herself.
Right. So he was like extra aware for some reason that like something was going on with these boys and Lindsay. So when he saw this kid put his book bag down in front of Lindsay's and cut the line, he goes booking across the front lawn like a crazy man, picks up this 10-year-old kid's book bag and
No. First, he politely asked him to move it to the back of the line. He asked him. Trust me.
Okay.
He asked him.
All right.
Maybe I should tell the story. I think I tell the story better than you.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Do it.
Lindsay gets cut in the line. Lindsay won't speak up for herself. She won't say anything. She's just like, eh. And she comes and tells us, and she's like, oh, you cut me, but like, she doesn't want to do anything about it. Long story short, the kid cuts Lindsay in line. Dad sees it from the front door, books it across the freaking front yard, and decides he's going to handle this situation. So he tells the kid, he goes, Michael, hey, no moving, no cutting the line. You got to take your book bag, put it to the back of the line.
I thought it was Steven.
It probably was.
Oh. You're so good at telling the story.
Well, I'm confused at this point because I'm trying to keep up with you and like insert important details.
Well, I don't remember anything properly anymore.
God
at this
almighty.
Point, so
I feel like we should start over. We're good.
Anyway,
We're good. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. So anyway, Steven tells my dad, when he tells him to move his book back to the back of the line, he says, my mom says I don't have to listen to you.
yes, that's exactly what happened.
And then Dad basically saw red, punted, and I mean
drop kicked.
literally picked up this kid's backpack and punted it square across the street into the woods.
Like across the main road.
Like no big deal. Like this is totally normal to kick like a fucking what was he like
10?
10?
Yeah.
Not even 9?
Yeah.
Kick his book bag straight across the street.
Drop kicked it across the main road.
We were all like, oh no, this
Yeah,
is not good.
not
He's pissed.
good.
The two kids, the brothers, ran down the street to go tell their mom. The bus comes. She probably had to take them to school.
We
whatever.
all got on the bus. They
got
were
on the bus,
home.
but we were like, that handled that.
Yeah.
We get on the bus, and the next thing you know,
In an orderly fashion.
as always, in the line that was your book bag was in. But yeah, next thing you know, cops are showing up at the door. Dad
Yeah.
had left for work too, and Mom had to deal with it.
Oh, poor mom.
She's like, what the fuck did he do now? You gotta be
Always.
kidding me.
I know.
That was a mess.
It's the best story ever, though. Like, whose dad just drop kicks a 10-year-old's book bag across the street? Like,
Our dad.
yes. He was the best. Always looking out.
He was so funny.
He had
You know
our
what
back.
it was? Is he had like a tick where like once you made that light switch in his brain, he would go blackout.
Yeah.
Like full blackout mode. It didn't matter if it was on a grown man coming to his house to talk shit and we're going outside with baseball bats.
Oh, yeah.
Or if it's a 9-10-year-old kid cutting the line at the school bus.
Yeah.
But when that switch went, it was done.
And it's ingrained in us as well, which is terrible. Well, two of us, you and I, but not so much Lindsay and Mark. Lindsay journals, and Mark's scared of everyone, I think.
Yeah.
Even though he's a giant and can probably hurt people if he really wanted to. He doesn't because he's just so passive.
Yeah, he's a
But
gentle
Dad
giant.
always tells, like he says to me all the time, oh, I wish I didn't make you guys into such killers.
I feel like it's like a genetic thing.
I think it's good.
I don't know. I feel like our cousins are like that.
I wouldn't want to be any other way.
Me neither. It was fun.
Yeah.
So here's another good story for you. We had talked before in an episode about how we would go and drink in the woods and how Mark was a dope. He was the one who would always get caught. And we didn't understand how he did that, but whatever. One time Mark called me and he was back in the woods. And I'm like, what are you doing back there? It was like one of the first times he went back there with a bunch of people without me. Okay? Like, I knew when I could go into the woods on my own without you.
Yeah.
Mark didn't read through those lines well. So he was back there without me. And I talked to him and I'm like, hey, why don't you just come to Dad's? Bring your friends to Dad's. You guys can drink here and we'll just party here. It's going to snow, like whatever. No. We're all hanging back in wherever the hell they were. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he didn't think far enough ahead about how you had to be super, super mindful about when you're coming out of the woods. He brings his truck back there. Coming out of the woods, the cops are waiting because somebody called and said they saw a bunch of people going back there, and sure enough, Mark gets arrested for a DUI. He was the only one who was 18 though.
Right.
So he was
in trouble.
well, no,
Like,
he was the only
an
one allowed.
adult.
He was allowed to call whoever he wanted.
Oh, the other kids had to call their parents.
They had to call their parents. Yeah. No.
Yikes.
Mark got to call whoever he wanted, which of course was me. And I am back at our house with Chelsea, and we're half in the bag.
Oh my
And
God.
it's a snowstorm.
Great.
He calls me and he's like, oh, just so you know, he's like, wait, Ash, I need to talk to you. I'm like, wait, hold on a second. Lori's beeping in. So I take the other call. She's like, yo, your brother just got arrested coming out of the woods. I'm like, fuck, he's on the other line. I gotta go. So, of course, I had to go down and pick him up. Chelsea was the more sober of the two of us. We drove from Oak Ridge all the way to freaking the center of town in West Milford, which is like a 45-minute drive regularly.
Yeah.
Okay. Add to the fact that we are driving in a complete whiteout blizzard to it.
Oh my God.
And we're half in the bag.
Why would you go party in the woods during a blizzard?
He's an idiot.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean,
He's an
we've
idiot.
established
I told him this like 10 times. He did not listen. No, we're good. We're good. I'm like, I don't think you should be back there. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I go and pick him up. We get back home and he's like, what am I supposed to tell Dad? And I'm like, listen, just sleep on the couch. Tell him you were in the area. You had a couple of drinks. You didn't want to drive. And you got dropped off here.
Oh, that's because he lived with Mom at the
He
time.
lived with Mom.
Oh,
so it was going to
God.
stand out that he was there.
Yeah, he's going to be in so much trouble.
We wake up the next morning. Sure enough, it goes exactly as expected. Dad's like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I had too much to drink. Whatever. So Mark comes over by me and he's like, so scared. They impounded his truck, like the works. And he's like, I'm so scared. He's going to kill me. What am I going to do? What do I do? I'm like, you want me to tell him? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I'll definitely tell him. No worries. Just follow my lead. Don't say anything. We sit Dad down. I'm like, I have to talk to you. It's really important. He sits down with us and I'm like, listen, I'm pregnant. And he, face in hands, just starts crying. And I go, just kidding. Mark got a DUI, not permanent. And he was like, what is the matter with you? Oh my God. And he's like, he just started laughing. At that point, he's like, how'd you get a DUI? Like, he was good about it.
Right.
Then he said something to the effect of like, oh God, we got to tell your mother. And we're like, what? No, we had to tell an adult. You're the adult. We're telling you. Don't tell her.
Right.
She'll send him to jail.
Yeah. Oh,
And she tried. Trust me. She did. Yeah.
She told every cop in town to throw the book at him.
Yeah. She called the courthouse and was like, whatever it is, if he needs to serve time.
Lock him up.
He's 18 years old. He was drinking in the woods. Cut him some slack.
Right.
God almighty. But that was kind of fucked up.
I
But
love
it
that
worked
you
out okay.
managed to lessen the blow with the I'm pregnant though before.
Well, I mean, I felt like that was the best approach.
It sounds like it worked.
It's not permanent.
I mean, for Dad at least.
Plus you already had one pregnant kid.
What's
I mean,
another?
it looks really bad if you have two walking around.
Oh my God.
Now like a pregnant kid and a DUI kid. It's not so bad.
So my dad has an alter ego, this whole, when we say he sees red, we call his alter ego Steve.
Yeah.
Steve Leneve.
Yep.
And if he snaps and goes into this ulterior place where you're like, oh God, he's scary and can't see me right now because he's furious. Yeah, Steve's here. So we used to tease him all the time and if he'd get mad, you'd be like, okay, Steve, whatever. But if you really had Steve out, you kind of should be a little scared because he was psychotic.
He would go off the walls.
Yes, totally. So I'll never forget, you were saying last episode about how we never put the dishes out of the sink or whatever. He would always get mad if the kitchen was a mess. And one time, me, Rob, and Haley, who was a baby at the time, and I think you were there, and maybe one of your friends, and Mark. We're all lounging around on the couches.
Like a Saturday.
Watching TV, just relaxing.
Feet up.
Everybody's comfy, just chilling. And he comes in, the kitchen is dirty, and he starts ranting about...
It wasn't that the kitchen was dirty. There was a
dishes
bowl in the sink.
Yeah, it was one bowl in the sink.
It was a bowl in the sink.
It wasn't like it was filthy. Because we were very neat.
Yeah, I mean, it was never a mess.
No.
But there was a bowl in the sink.
Yes.
And he was
pissed.
He knows that he left the house, there was nothing in the sink.
Right. So he's freaking out about the bowl in the sink. And I mean irate.
Yes.
You guys can't live here anymore. this is it. No more food for you. I'm sick of you making such a mess in here. Don't ever eat at my house again. I'm not buying you food.
Jess's now husband was there. This is when they first started dating. I remember him going off and being like, we have company.
Yeah.
There's like an outsider here.
I was like, and meet my father's other personality. This is Steve.
This is Steve. And he kept going, and we kept like raising the volume of the TV. We're like, shut the fuck up. We're watching a movie. Shut up.
Oh, he was so mad. So he like blows a gasket about the bowl in the sink. And we're at this point like used to him turning into Steve and acting like a crazy person. But whatever. Like it happened. So he's pissed, and we're all a bit stunned after this like blow up. And we're just kind of all like sitting there while he like leaves so that we can like
calm down,
talk about him to each other and be like, he's crazy.
This is my dad.
And I want to say like 10 minutes went by. Like it wasn't that long.
It wasn't even 10 minutes. I felt like it was like
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah, it really was not a long period of time. But anyway, he comes back in to the living room where we all are. And I'm expecting him to like continue to yell at us because he was so freaking mad about the bowl in the sink. And he's like, hey guys, I'm going to make some lunch. Would you like some chicken shish kebabs?
He's like, you guys want to have chicken shish kebabs for dinner tonight?
I'm like, didn't you just tell us that we were never allowed to eat here again? That
don't use your forks,
your knives, we have to
your bowls,
buy your own groceries. I'm done feeding you. I'm done cleaning up at you. And then all of a sudden it's like, Glenn's back. So you guys want chicken shish kebabs
for dinner tonight? We were like, what the Yeah, sure, sounds good. We're just like, okay, there it is.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, your poor husband.
Chicken shish kebabs.
Been like shell shocked.
This is why he doesn't talk to anyone. He's like terrified. He talks to you, and that's it. Now he loves Dad.
He's my buddy. Oh, he's my buddy. He shares his food with me.
Chicken shish kebabs.
He doesn't share his food with anybody.
Speaking of food.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so as close as we all are, and even though we go at each other's throats and shit, like we'll defend each other to the ground, I think.
Yeah,
all right?
for sure.
To the ground. Dad will punt a book bag.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll fight for each other.
I'll fake a pregnancy.
Yeah, whatever has to happen.
Yeah, whatever. It's no big deal.
So lots of you have been asking how I get my hair so long and full as a blonde. Well, my secret is Perfectress extensions installed and maintained by the amazing Brandy B NYC. Brandy is a Minnesota native who specializes in blondes, and we all know Minnesota girls are known for being blondes. She's all about the latest trending techniques and got certified in Perfectress extensions to make me, and now you, feel your best with thicker, longer hair. Whether you need a cut, color, wax, eyelash lift, keratin, or a perm or extensions, Brandy is your girl. Her cozy and relaxing studios are located at 456 Broadway in New York City and 287 Route 94 in Vernon, New Jersey. And they're the perfect place to spend some time taking care of you. Because let's be real, we all need a little more self-care. Follow Brandy at BrandyBNYC on Instagram and book an appointment online by going to www.brandybnyc.com. Mention Sisters Uncensored in your booking comments for 10% off your next service.
Even when it comes to grandma. So we were at Thanksgiving and, oh my God, do you remember that? Oh, you weren't there.
I wasn't
there. You had
there.
COVID.
But I can say that, like, I do know how important my grandmother's rice pudding is to my family, like to my dad, his siblings. My grandmother is a terrible cook. We used to joke that she cooks Cajun style because everything the woman ever made was overdone and burnt.
Burnt. I remember
like Dad telling me they replicated her rice pudding recipe for home ec in high school.
Yep.
And that they thought that they made it perfectly.
They're like, it's perfect.
But they failed because it was dry and cake-like because that's how grandma's rice pudding always turned out.
It's disgusting. I would never touch that. I'm sorry, there's not a chance I would touch that.
But you will kill someone over it.
I'll kill somebody over it, but I won't eat that. Like,
no.
I would never put that in my mouth. I've never even tasted it. I'm just like, that's not for me. I can tell you right now.
It just looks
It looks ratchet. It looks so ratchet.
But they love it.
It's half burnt. It's all like, it looks like
not pudding.
It looks like cheese is on top. It doesn't make any sense.
But we can say this.
Yeah, we can say this.
No one else.
Nobody else can say this. Exactly. So we had Thanksgiving a couple years ago up at Dad's, and Grandma, who like went out of her way. She's old and frail, you know what I mean? And she like went out of her way to make a batch of rice pudding. That's another thing too. We call everything we make a batch. I don't know why.
It's true.
But
Batch
like mac and cheese.
cheese.
It's a batch. But whatever. She made this rice pudding and she sent it up with Uncle Bobby because she couldn't come up for Thanksgiving.
And he was going to be there.
And he was coming and she was like, that was like such a sweet thing for her to do.
It was hard for her at the time to, I think, even make that.
Absolutely.
Because it took a lot of effort and energy because she's just not young anymore.
She can't get from me to you.
No.
Without.
Right. It was like a big deal because
it was a lot.
It was probably the last time she was ever going to make it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, whatever. We're all sitting down for dessert after dinner. And one of our friends who was there, poor Becca, she started talking about trying the rice pudding. And Uncle Bobby and Dad are going on about, this is the best rice pudding. Our mom made it special just for us. It's so good. It's the best. It's the best. So Becca takes like a slab of it, puts it on her plate. And she's probably had a few drinks. She takes a few bites and she's like, this tastes like shit. And
she basically says everything that everyone else thinks about the rice pudding.
Exactly. She's not wrong. She's definitely not wrong. But she's going on about it, and Uncle Bobby's going like, hey, stop talking about my mom's like rice pudding like that. She worked really hard on it. And she's like, listen, it is what it is, but it tastes like shit. I don't know what to tell you. This is like terrible. Dad chimed in. He's like, hey, don't talk about my mom's rice pudding. They're going back and forth. And by the third or fourth time of her coming down on Grandma's rice pudding, I lost it. I was across the table, finger in face.
Oh
You're
my God.
disrespectful to my grandmother and her rice pudding. I lost it. And the next thing I know, I snapped back to reality. We must all have this quality. You definitely do.
Oh, yeah.
But I snap back to reality and I just see this girl sitting there with a fork in hand and tears are just streaming down her cheeks. And I'm like, oh my God, I made her cry on Thanksgiving over rice pudding trying to defend Grandma. I felt bad.
Oh,
that was not good.
Never talk shit about Grandma's food.
No.
Or we'll kill you.
Yeah.
Only we can talk shit about Grandma's food.
It's terrible. Don't eat it. It's not
It's
good.
really bad. It's so bad.
Her lasagna's like, everything is burnt. I don't even know how you burn lasagna the way she does.
So we were up there another time for a holiday. I feel like maybe it wasn't a holiday. Maybe it was just like summer and like everybody comes up to Dad's in the summer because he has like a nice backyard with a pool and it's just a very good spot to like entertain people. He's close in the Finger Lakes to like lots of fun stuff to do. So it's just a good place to go and visit. So we go up there with friends of ours and their kids and we're all hanging out.
He's been doing a lot of renovations. He did a lot of renovations over the years to that house.
Yep, drinking, cooking, just, relaxing, and it's just home away from home, basically.
Very chill.
Yeah, he was doing renovations in the basement, and that's where we stick all the kids, especially if like it's raining out or whatever. We're like, go downstairs and play. And there's like, he has it all set up so that there's like multiple bunk beds and places to sleep, so that basically the adults get the bedrooms upstairs and the kids sleep all together downstairs in like, it's almost like a dorm room.
Right.
So
it's like camping.
Yeah.
So you go to their house, it's like camping.
Except you're in a bed. So I go down there at one point, like during the day, and I see all the kids playing with this thing. And I'm like, what is that? And they're like sticking their fingers in it and like touching all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you playing with? Now, there's like construction stuff everywhere. So the wall was open and there was like tools and different things like still on the table that I guess hadn't gotten put away. So I think that they're like messing with some sort of like construction something, like glue or something. And I'm like, stop touching all of this.
Yes, this is not for you guys to be touching.
So I go to take this thing away from them because whatever it is, I'm sure they're not supposed to be playing with it. And I realize,
well, one of the kids actually said, when you were like, what is that? And they're like looking at it. And
yeah.
Like, what's
Oh yeah, I go,
it.
What is that? And they said flashlight. It's a flashlight, and I'm like, why are they sticking their fingers in a flashlight? So take the thing away, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a fucking fleshlight. It is not a flashlight.
It's like a pearl colored plastic fleshlight.
Like outside, and then inside, if you unscrewed it, which they had because they were sticking their fingers in it, it's a fucking rubber vagina that like. So I'm like, oh my God, don't touch that.
Jess
like,
comes running.
What are you doing?
With this thing in her hands, and she's like, we're all sitting at the table, and she holds it out, and she's like, why are my kids playing with a fleshlight in the basement?
And it's not just my kids. It's
your
my kids
friends'
and
kids.
my friends' kids, which is even worse.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
Oh my God, it was so embarrassing.
Dad was like, what are you talking about? Like, what is that? He had no idea. He's like, oh, I found that thing in the wall. I thought it was like an air freshener.
Right.
Or
All of us
something.
are like, yeah, right.
Oh my God. When all the kids came upstairs, we're all sitting around the table
We're like,
laughing.
wash your hands.
Wash your hands immediately. But like the kid said something like, I don't know. Somebody said to them, like, did you guys like touch it? Like, where did you touch it? They're like, I just took the cap off and like, I just put my hands like on the bottom, like where the cap
like
came
the
off.
skinny end of the handle.
Yes, and one of our friends who was there was like, the drain? I was like, why do you even know what that is? The drain. Why do you say that? Like it just rolls off your tongue. Oh God, so nasty. That was so
the
gross.
story from my dad's perspective goes, it was in the wall when he took the wall apart. And he thought it was like an air freshener or some sort of like anti-humidity contraption that like the initial construction workers had built and put it in there to keep like moisture out of the wall. So he said he took it off of the beam and put it on the table and didn't think twice about it and was just doing whatever work he was doing down there. And then the kids found it and started touching it. But I guess he says that he thinks the guy who owned the house before him, who they're friends
yeah,
with,
it's a good friend of his.
that like he must have went to hide it in the drop ceiling and somehow it fell down the side of the wall, landed on the thing, and just ended up staying there until they opened the wall up.
That guy totally denied that being his. Totally denied it. But let me tell you,
I know.
Dad wrapped it up and gave it to him for his birthday.
I know.
I'm telling you, we have to like get a picture of that thing.
It is the most disgustingly amazing story ever, though.
That was the worst part. Was like you had your hands in the drain. I was like, ugh, the what? Ugh.
I just remember them coming up and being like, wash your hands!
Wash your hands! Take a shower.
And
Everybody in
like,
the pool, in the hot tub, whatever.
They all panicked. They're like, is it poison? I'm like, yes, wash your hands. You're so gross. Because it's not every day your kids find a fleshlight in grandpa's basement.
Good times. Good times.
So that's one of the gold medal stories, I would say.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fair.
I can't imagine other people having some sort of story that comes even close to something like that.
I don't know anybody who their kids found a fleshlight in their grandparents' basement. And listen, our grandparents' basement had everything.
Oh my God, yes. It was like a treasure trove down there.
It was a hoarder situation. What are you talking about, treasure trove?
From a little kid's perspective, there was everything down there.
It was a hoard. It was
you
absolutely
could, like, dress up with
hoarding
real
situation.
Clothes. There were mannequin heads.
That basement
probably dead
freaked
bodies.
Me out. It
Who
knows?
knows?
Smelled weird. I don't know. It had orange carpeting. It was weird, and boxes and
we used
boxes
to play hide and go
shit.
seek down there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could hide for a month and nobody would find you. There was so much shit down there.
It's true.
That was terrible.
There definitely wasn't a fleshlight.
There was no, well, who knows? I don't know. I don't know if anybody even went through the stuff when they brought the dumpster to clear that out, but that was bad.
Oh my God. They are nuts. I'm telling you. We are all nuts, our whole family.
We definitely are.
At least like we can sit back and like laugh and think about like these stories, like my dad punted a 10-year-old's book bag, my kids found a fleshlight in the basement, right? Like it's just so crazy that you just have to laugh about it.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, it just like it's almost like if you don't hear the stories, you would never believe it was true. That's why we have to say like fucked up family Olympics. Definitely the winners here.
Absolutely. Hey, if the two kids who live down the street are listening to this, by all means, weigh in, because I'm sure you remember this incident just as much as we did.
Oh my God. I would love to hear their perspective.
That was epic.
Yeah, it was.
That was epic.
And we
My
still
mom
like
says,
hung
I
out
don't
with
have
them
to-
after.
Yeah,
It's
we're
fine.
still friends.
Yeah.
We're like,
Oh, God.
Mom called the cops on us again.
Yeah, right, probably.
Didn't you see her like walking?
No, not anytime recently.
No, I mean like a few years back.
No.
Somebody saw her walking and like picked her up and gave her a ride.
No.
And I was like, what? What was that like?
Oh,
what a blast from the past.
No, it wasn't me. So it's super fun to like reminisce and laugh about these stories that we have with our family. I don't know. It makes me feel good about the things that are so like messed up.
I agree.
It's like
I
you
think
can't laugh at
listen.
it and just move on. Like,
listen,
you'll be scarred for life and probably end up in a loony bin.
Absolutely. I mean, not for nothing, but these things are not necessarily normal. I really can't think of anybody who would have something that matches up with the FLESHLIGHT story or I mean, even when we were talking about in the last episode, switching out the porn.
I know.
Like, Jesus Christ.
I know.
Oh my God. Like, who comes up with this stuff?
The big mamu.
Oh my goodness.
I'll never forget it.
Whatever. What are you going to do? Everybody's got their shit. We can at least laugh and smile, make light of it.
Yeah, listen, we would love to
Re-gift it
hear
if you need to.
Our listeners' crazy stories. So, like, if you guys have something that can hang with the Fucked Up Family Olympics level of crazy,
bring it.
FLESHLIGHT, yes.
We want to hear it.
DM us or let us know, like, if you want to call in or come on to an episode to talk about some of this stuff with us, because it's just funny to, like, compare these stories with one another. And I think, again, it's therapeutic and it just kind of makes you laugh. We're going to do some contests coming up on our social media. So if you guys want to enter the contest and stuff, we'll have ways for you to win prizes and merch from the podcast. But you're going to have to participate and share some of your dirty little family secrets with us.
And we're here for it. Come
We
on.
are.
Make me laugh. I'm here for it.
Yes, we are. No, keep an eye out for that on our social. We appreciate everybody listening. It's always fun to talk about the shit that should have really fucked you up, but keeps you laughing to this day. And I'm sure there's still more stuff to happen that we don't even know about at this point.
We'll find out. I'm sure. Stay tuned. We'll be updating you, I'm sure. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Follow us on social, subscribe, like, and share your stuff with us. Hit us up in the DMs or even in the comments. We'll see you for the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.